Today we presented the first-in-human results utilizing a novel microregulatory device designed to stimulate the vagus nerve. The goal was through vagal nerve stimulation, through an electrical impulse, that we might be able to impact immunomodulation through a variety of reflexes responsible for inflammation and cellular release of inflammatory mediators in the spleen. The goal here was to use this electrical stimulation to modify or modulate and improve the treatment of active rheumatoid arthritis. We took 14 patients. They were randomized to either receive sham, meaning they had an implantation of the device, but the device was never turned on, to receive daily stimulation, or to receive 4-time-a-day stimulation. What we found was that a substantial number of patients were able to obtain a minimally clinically important difference in their disease activity scores. The disease activity scores were also paired with MRIs. We were able to see an improvement in erosions in a handful of individuals for which we saw a clinical response as well. We assessed biologic activity using stimulated cytokine release assays to understand whether or not the stimulation taking place to the vagus nerve actually resulted in an alteration in the cytokine profile or the inflammatory mediators that might help be responsible for the activity of rheumatoid arthritis. And we were able to see that in the daily stimulated group. Probably most importantly, though, we proved the feasibility of being able to implant a microregulator, be able to charge that regulator transcutaneously on a weekly basis. We're able to do this with a device that proves safe, without significant immunosuppressive abnormalities or laboratory abnormalities, although there were a couple of surgical complications associated with the initial procedure. But overall, it provides us a unique opportunity to see whether or not electrical stimulation and modification of neurostimulation of the immune system can result in improvement in autoimmunity. There's been a lot of work that's been done in the past, initiated by Kevin Tracy and others, looking at the ability to modify the immune system through neural stimulation. It's thought of as the immune reflex, where the efferent aspect of the vagal nerve can cause a modification of inflammation as it relates to cellular release from a number of cell types in the spleen. Now, the ability to do this in rheumatoid arthritis was previously demonstrated in a 17-patient trial done in the Netherlands and published in PNAS by Koopman et al. The reason for choosing refractory patients is because, one, there's a clear unmet need, but two, because this was a first-in-human study using a novel microregulatory device stimulating the vagus nerve. We thought the overall benefits and risk ratio was most appropriate for its first trial in patients with refractory disease. But over time, if the device proves successful in modulating the disease, one could see it potentially used earlier in the disease, and whether it is developed as a standalone or used as an adjunct on additional therapy will have to be determined based on both its efficacy and its safety. There are a number of approaches being developed right now, from non-invasive approaches, being external stimulation of the vagus nerve, to stimulation of the vagus nerve via an implantable device, such as what we did. And there's other opportunities to stimulate the nervous system through stimulation on the ear or intra-abdominally. So the field is continuing to grow, and we'll have to see where it takes us. It's probably too early to know exactly where this approach fits and whether or not there's meaningful differences between implantable and external devices, and in which population the overall efficacy and safety parameters prove most useful. I would hope that over time it proves both useful and safe enough to be used in concert with other approaches. Well, the device that we're talking about today is implanted along the vagus nerve. It's approximately 1 inch in length, or 2 centimeters. It can be explanted or removed, and certainly it can be interrogated or interviewed externally through a device and a computer application. It performs fine in an MRI scanner. The question is, could it be used in concert with other type of electrical devices? And I'd have to refer you back to the engineers as to whether or not there'd be complications with that.